What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports Through the Mail Thursdays. Today I'm going to share with you 3 returns. A couple of them all of them I'm super excited about getting back because they're all a little unique in their own way. The final one I'm going to show you is, I can't believe all the autographs that this individual sent me. I only sent him 3 cards, and he jam-packed my envelope that I'm surprised it even made it back to me without postage due. So let me tell you about the first one, and that is a return from Tampa, Florida. And in the past, I actually had this card already signed by George Mitterwald, and Renick signed one, a second of him just by himself, and a third without George Mitterwald. And he signed 3 of the 4. And for some reason, he didn't sign the 4th card, but that's fine. Maybe he overlooked it, or maybe 3 is the limit. I don't know. But he completed this 1968 Rookie Stars with George Mitterwald, which is a really cool addition to the collection. And now I have one with just him that I can send to George Mitterwald and ask him to sign as well. So I look forward to possibly completing both of those, but completing that in the near future, and that one's already done. So let me tell you about Rick Renick and his career in baseball. Renick graduated from Madison South High School in his hometown of London, Ohio, and attended Ohio State University and signed with the Twins in 1964 as a free agent, the year before the Major League Baseball draft occurred. After working his way through the minors, in 1968 he was recalled from AAA Denver mid-year and made his Major League debut on July 11th. He homered off of Mickey Lolich, a left-handed ace for the Detroit Tigers. That home run helped Minnesota win the game 5-4, and Renick started 30 games at shortstop during the season's final 3 months. Beginning in 1969, he was a backup third baseman and outfielder for Minnesota, setting career bests in games played 81, hits 41, doubles 8, home runs 7, and runs batted in, all in 1970. Overall, his lifetime batting average was .221 with 102 career hits. In the field, he appeared in 71 games at third, 63 in the outfield, and 48 at shortstop. Although the Twins sent him to the minor leagues at the end of the 72 season, Renick continued to play his active career through 1978, playing his final 2 seasons in the Montreal Expos minor league organizations. After the 78 season, in 1979, Renick began his coaching and managing career, starting as a minor league batting instructor for the Royals system. For 13 years, between 1981 and 2002, he was a member of the Major League coaching staffs of the Royals, Expos, Twins, including serving as the third base coach for the 1987 World Series champion Twins, Pittsburgh Pirates, and Florida Marlins. He also managed in the minors for the Expos and the Chicago White Sox. In 1993 and 1996, Renick was named the American Association Manager of the Year. Now that I have presented Mr. Renick to you, I almost regret not going through my minor league cards a little bit closer, because I almost want to bet I have a set or 2 with Rick Renick in it as the manager. Because if he coached from 1981 to 2000, odds are I have a set somewhere with him in it. Now, unfortunately, I didn't do my due justice, because technically when I have 4 cards, that's when I stop looking. I find the 4 card mark and I'm like, okay, that's enough. I never want to send more than 4 to somebody. So that's probably why I didn't put forth the effort to look for the minor league cards. But due to the fact that maybe he overlooked this last one, maybe I'll go through my minor league cards, see if I have 2 or 3 more, then maybe resend this to him in a future date. So very cool to add Rick Renick to the collection. Like I said, finishing off that 68 Rookie Stars, and we'll move on to the next one. All right, so this one I'm pretty excited to get back, and I actually featured this in the past, and it's postmarked from North Carolina. And if you recall, I shared this set with you, the all-time San Diego Padres Trader Jack Padres set a little while back. So who else better to write than Trader Jack himself to get the first card signed out of the set? And in addition to that, he signed a Kansas City Royals manager card for me. He also signed a 1988 Topps Traded for me. And he also signed a 1989 Topps for me. So 404 success from Jack McKeon. So let me tell you about his career, as I'm super excited to get my first Trader Jack card signed out of the set. I will post that down at the bottom here in the description if you want to see that pick up about this set in particular, because it's a really oddball set that was only regionally issued in San Diego. So let me tell you about Jack McKeon and his long, illustrious career in baseball. Born in New Jersey, McKeon was a catcher who threw and batted right-handed. He played baseball for College of Holy Cross and also attended Seton Hall University and Elon College, earning his bachelor's degree. McKeon spent his entire early professional career in baseball in the minor leagues. He became a player manager in 1955 at just the age of 24, and then worked in the farm system of the original modern-era Washington Senators franchise and its successor, the Minnesota Twins, handling AAA assignments for the Vancouver Mounties, Dallas-Fort Worth Rangers, and the Atlanta Crackers. He scouted for the Twins starting in mid-1964 before joining the Royals in 1968. 1 year before their Major League debut as skipper of the Class A High Point Thomasville farm team, where he won the Carolina League playoff championship. He led their AAA affiliate, the Omaha Royals of the American Association, from its founding in 1969 through 1972 and won 2 league titles. McKeon, then 42, was promoted to manager of the Kansas City Royals, succeeding Bob Lemon. The 1972 Royals had gone a disappointing 76 and 78 during the strike-shortened season and moved to a brand new stadium, Royal Stadium, in 73. Going into 1973, he found success with the Royals, going 88 wins and 74 losses for just a 5-year-old franchise at the time, 6 games behind the eventual world champion Oakland A's. But the 74 Royals could not sustain the momentum that they did the previous year, and McKeon's relationship with some of the players soured. 2 months later, after starting the season, McKeon was fired and was replaced by future Hall of Famer Whitey Herzog. At the time of McKeon's firing, they were in second place, which seems a little crazy. Herzog led the Kansas City Royals to 3 consecutive AL West titles from 76 to 78, and McKeon moved on to being a skipper in the Atlanta Braves organization. In 1977, he moved on to the Oakland A's, and he eventually stayed with the A's through the end of the 1970s. He was let go by Charlie Finley, and then managed the AAA affiliate of the Montreal Expos in 1979. In 1980, he moved to San Diego, so this is where it began, in San Diego, and he became the top assistant to then general manager Bob Fontaine. Eventually, he would move on to becoming the general manager of the Padres, and this is when he would finally get his nickname Trader Jack. Probably the most notable thing that Jack did was he traded Ozzie Smith to the St. Louis Cardinals for Gary Templeton. Some of the other big things under his general management was he drafted Tony Gwynn and Kevin McReynolds, and he also lured free agents Steve Garvey and Goose Gossage to come to the organization, which would eventually lead them to the World Series in 1984. After Larry Bowa was relieved of his duties as manager of the Padres, McKeon would take over as Padres field manager, returning to the field for the first time in many years. After his tenure at the Padres ended in 1990 as a manager, McKeon stepped away for a little while but returned to the dugout in 1997 to manage the Cincinnati Reds. Well, he would manage the Cincinnati Reds and actually would win National League Manager of the Year for the Reds in 1999. After the 2000 season, he was again let go from his coaching duties, but then remained in the foreshadows, I guess, and signed on to be the Florida Marlins manager in 2003. In 2003, the 72-year-old Jack McKeon would help lead the Florida Marlins over the New York Yankees to win their second World Series in franchise history. McKeon would remain the manager through the 2005 season, but eventually would move up to an administrative position for the Marlins instead of being the on-the-field manager. However, in 2011, after he had retired, the Florida Marlins had a resignation in Edwin Rodriguez, and McKeon, already retired, came out of retirement, and at 80 years old, finished the year in 2011 managing the Florida Marlins. This would make Jack the oldest manager behind Connie Mack in the history of baseball. Obviously, after the 2011 season concluded, the Marlins decided to hire somebody else as their manager, and Jack went back to retirement. So, like I said, very, very happy to get Mr. McKeon on the Trader Jack set. It's the first one that I've gotten out of that set. I haven't really pursued the set as hard as I have the Orioles all-time set, so hopefully you'll be seeing a couple more of these returning as I get them out in the mail. As you recall, I bought a couple sets, got a pretty good deal on them, and you can watch that video, like I said, below, but that's just in case somebody decides that they want to keep my card, then I have a backup, so I have at least one full complete set. So we'll move on to the next one. All right, so this next one is probably one of the neatest returns ever in my life. And I've been autographing through the mail for a long time, okay? So when I show you all this stuff, your jaw's going to drop. And I know I've seen other people have successes with this individual, but I wrote former pitcher George Culver, who threw a no-hitter on 7/29/68, and we'll talk about that in a second. And I sent him simply 3 cards, one from his playing days and 2 from his coaching days, because I had these extra minor league cards laying around. And that is all that I sent him. My envelope was returned to me, jam-packed with, okay, this is nothing that great, 2 index cards, both inscribed with his no-hitter dates, okay? And you're like, okay, well, that's cool. He gave you a couple signed index cards. Yeah, but we're not done there. He sent me a stack of personalized photos, not personalized to me, but personal cards, like blown-up cards from his playing career. One is an Astro. That looks like him as a St. Louis Cardinal. He put STL on there, 1970. A third, a copy of his other rookie card, and I swore that I had that card, but I looked high and low for through my cards, and I could not find that card. But he sent me a copy of it, of him as a Red. Here's him as a Philly. And finally, him as a Los Angeles Dodger. When I opened the envelope, I couldn't believe my eyes. I felt that it was a little thick, and I thought, oh, well, maybe you put like a note in there or something. Nothing big, but I could not believe that I got all of this back, and I didn't owe postage on the envelope, because it was just crazy how many things were shoved in just a standard envelope with a forever stamp on it. So this is by far one of the nicest returns I've ever gotten in the history of all my collecting. Somebody literally sent me 7 autographs. I have never sent 3 cards to somebody and got 10 items back in return. This is a record breaker for me. So let me tell you about George Culver and his career in baseball. Culver was originally offered a contract by the Philadelphia Phillies to sign out of Bakersfield, California in high school. He instead opted to go to Bakersfield College and pitched 2 years for the baseball team before eventually signing. Eventually, he signed with the New York Yankees in 1963 for a mere $2,500. Eventually, he would be shipped to the Cleveland Indians organization, and in 1966, he would make his major league debut on September 7th towards the end of the season against Joe Blomberg of the Boston Red Sox. He would pitch through 1967 with the Indians and then would get sent to the Cincinnati Reds, and he would throw a no-hitter on 7/29/1968, July 29th, 1968 for the Reds. After finishing a couple seasons with the Reds. He would then move on to the St. Louis Cardinals in 1970, and then would go to the Houston Astros from 1970 to 72. After the 72 season, he would appear in 28 games for the Los Angeles Dodgers strictly as a reliever, posting a 4-4 record with a 3 ERA before being placed on waivers in August. Not a popular move, the Philadelphia Phillies, who originally tried to sign him, claimed him off waivers for the Dodgers, and teammate Tommy John at the time did not agree that Culver should have been let go from the organization. He would spend 2 more years in the major leagues from 1973 to 74 with the Phillies, and finally after the 74 season would actually go to the Japanese Professional Baseball League and pitch 1 year for the Nippon Ham Fighters in 1975. After retiring as a player, Culver spent 30 years as a minor league manager, and coach, pitching coordinator, and pitching coach. His last season in professional baseball was as a roving pitching coach for the Dodgers in 2010. On his last day as an active coach, the Bakersfield Blaze minor league team honored him with a George Culver retirement night on August 23, 2010. Well, after retiring in 2010, Culver still resides in Bakersfield, California to this day. Unfortunately, Bakersfield lost their minor league baseball affiliate since Culver retired from baseball, but like I said, this is just one of those guys that was lucky enough to have an entire career in baseball. From being a player to being a coach to being a scout to being, whatever. And he can call baseball his life. That to me would be a dream job, to be able to be a Major League Baseball player and then work another 30 years after your playing career is over. And on top of that, he's unique enough to have a no-hitter, which is an elite group in itself. So like I said, this is the nicest return I've ever gotten back from one individual. 10 autographs from one person. I have to zoom out just to show you all of these. I want to thank Mr. Culver for sure, but I also want to thank, Trader Jack for signing his cards. I also want to thank, we'll trying to show them all here. We got a lot here. I also want to thank Mr. Renick, for signing his, especially finishing off this 1968 Topps. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Tell me what you think of Mr. Culver sending me all of this. I really would appreciate seeing your comments on this one. I look forward to reading them below. And as always, happy collecting.